Here in Lincoln, it might be hard to realize that the 2012 drought is one of the roughest in decades. People go about their normal lives without much thought on the rest of Nebraska. But J.D. Wehnes gives the drought lots of thought. The junior education major at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln grew up on a farm, and the drought has had a deep impact on him because of his family's livelihood and his current job as a field research assistant on multiple agricultural projects at UNL.
Between that and having a family that farms back home, working irrigating during the summer here at for the job in Lincoln, and then going back home on the weekends, it got to be very stressful at times. This would probably have to be probably one of the top two driest years I've ever experienced. As far as, I don't think that the heat was as bad, but there was just less rainfall. There's been years where it's been much hotter and there's been, more rainfall than this year, but I would probably have to say this was the driest year that I've ever experienced.
Luckily for Wehnes, his family farm near Harvard, Nebraska is above a helpful water source that kept crops hydrated through the drought. The Wehnes family uses the Ogallala Aquifer every year, whether there's a drought or not. This year, it eased the burden of the 2012 drought that enveloped more than 65% of the nation.
Most of the time you do irrigate in Nebraska, just for the fact that we don't get as much rain as you would over in Illinois, Indiana, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's very common to irrigate every year.
Others weren't so lucky. Farms in other regions of the country might not have been hit as hard by the drought, but they lack a natural water source. Jack Thelen, whose family farms in northeastern Nebraska near the town of Randolph, had troubles with irrigation this summer.
I remember about like maybe one or two rains total this year. That was it. We couldn't hardly run our irrigation because the groundwater was so restricted. So a lot of crop failure around my hometown.
Those irrigation problems meant that Thielen's family was less successful with yields.
It's one of the worst we've had in about 20 years or so. Last year we got a lot of rain, so we were pushing almost 200 bushels or more an acre. And this year, which is really good, and this year we have less than half that.
I just talked to my dad this afternoon, and I was asking about corn yields, and he said the corn did very well. He was getting approximately 215 bushel an acre to 220, which is very good.
Some farmers have to cut their losses and file for insurance to make up for a bad year.
If we didn't have crop insurance, just like a lot of other people, we'd be in deep trouble right now.
But whether or not the American farmer has crop insurance, a lack of rain is always scary for farming families.
It's just scary because if you live on a farm, like a lot of your livelihood is based on the rain. Just for people who have been focused on the rain for thousands of years. I mean, you're still in that mindset, and then it's a drought. I mean, it's like saying you can't go to work, so you can't provide for your family.